welcome back to another video, and in today's video we have Night of Champions results and review. A very early start time on the East Coast, but a very solid show overall. But how did you feel?
Yeah, I thought this show was great. I thought the crowd was really into it the whole night. Some matches, I would even say they partially carried some of them as far as the vibe and the energy of the match, and they kept things going. There's interesting things on this card, less interesting things. We'll get into it.
Yeah, we kicked off the night with the King of the Ring finals, where Cody Rhodes took on Randy Orton, and Cody Rhodes punches his ticket to SummerSlam, where after he won, he will have a shot at the Undisputed WWE Champion at SummerSlam. But how do you feel about this match?
It's probably maybe my second, maybe third match of the night right here. Very good way to start it. Starts off really slow. It's kind of like your average Randy Orton match, where it starts off very slow pace and he kind of works you into it slowly. But there were some kind of different things that happened throughout this match that made it even more interesting to add like more layers on top of it, I guess. And that's the fact that at one point he does a suplex to Cody Rhodes off the top rope. They both go down. It hurts Randy Orton's back, and that kind of tells the story for the rest of the match. And we've seen Cody say in the past that, you know, next time I have a chance to strike, I'm not going to hold back. He saw the opportunity open up with Randy Orton's back, and the entire match he's kind of working the lower back. He's using the turnbuckle against them, and all kind of unique offense like that from Cody Rhodes, where he's looking almost heelish at different points, where at the same time Randy Orton could have won the match, where he could have did the dirty kind of thing and gave him the punt to win the match, but he chose not to do it because it was Cody, and that ends up costing him in the end.
Yeah, this match was a pretty good opener. Going to start off, obviously Cody getting the big win here. Even though, like you said, he did do a little bit more heelish things throughout the match, he still gets a big reaction after he wins. And this does make sense. Obviously, I think the story didn't call for Randy Orton to go win and go back after saying we want more of Cody to go back and win his belt. But yeah, this match was pretty good. One of probably my favorite match of the night, and we'll get to the other one later on. But yeah, this match very fun. This is simple Randy Orton match where, like you said, it's very more technical, slower paced, but it's still giving you, some good stuff throughout the match to keep you entertained.
Now we've seen Cody Rhodes celebrating after the match as well, and we're kind of getting all these kind of dirty looks from Randy Orton as he's walking to the back. He's kind of eyeing Cody down as Cody's celebrating and mentioning his name. So I could almost maybe see a world where maybe at SummerSlam we get a triple threat between Cody, Randy, and Cena. Probably not, but I feel like there's definitely a lot more that we'll be seeing from Cody and Randy very soon, even between now and SummerSlam.
Yeah. And then next up, we had Rhea Ripley take on Raquel Rodriguez in a street fight, where Rhea Ripley comes out on top despite interference or in the help of Roxanne Perez. But how we feel?
Yeah, so this was a match that I didn't really have a whole lot of expectations for, but it did over meet that expectation, or whatever you want to say. I thought it was really good. There was moments where it was brutal and it looked very hard hitting, and there was a lot of just hardcore street fight spots in here. But I think one of the things that might have held back at least the look of a lot of things is there was a moment where Rhea kind of had her arms tied up in the ropes and she's getting hit with the kendo stick and everything. But I think what might have hurt it is maybe their gear, because a lot of times when you're getting hit with a kendo stick, a steel chair, one of the big selling points of that is being able to see the big red mark on the chest, and you know what I mean? It kind of helps you visualize how bad it hurts. And you weren't able to do that with the women's gear that they unfortunately have to wear during these events. So maybe that was part of it that kind of made it feel a little bit lesser than. But I do think it was a great match, and I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, this match for me, I didn't care for it too much, if I'm being completely honest. I don't think this is either of their best matches. There was a few spots in here that I think were interesting and fun, but overall, I kind of wish we got more from a street fight. I think them at the end staying on top of the table, on top of it, just to get the riptide, it looks somewhat cool, but also at the end of the day, it is just a top rope riptide. We've seen that plenty of times before, so that's not really nothing new. I'm not saying it's bad or anything like that, but it just didn't feel like we got nothing too special. I did like the use of the cover on the announce table being used as kind of like I guess like a crash pad in a way for the powerbomb that Raquel does to Rhea on the outside in the timekeepers area. But yeah, this match, I wish it just would have been better. I wish they kind of give them more stuff to do throughout the match, like bigger spots. And also the interference from Roxanne kind of felt irrelevant and almost hurt the match more than it helped it, I think. Just because Roxanne came to the match, tried to help, gets immediately taken out, gets a trash can thrown at her head, gets hit with a Shining Wizard, and then Rhea does the Riptide, and pretty much that's how she wins the match after. So I feel like it kind of makes Judgment Day and Raquel and Roxanne kind of just look bad overall, but obviously it is Rhea Ripley, so I guess that is the excuse.
Yeah, I definitely expected Raquel to get the win, especially with the interference from Roxanne. It didn't end up happening, so I think if I had to change one thing, it probably would just be just taking Roxanne Perez completely out of it because it didn't make sense.
Yeah. But next up, though, we had Sami Zayn take on Karrion Kross, where Sami Zayn comes out on top and defeats Kross in a match that probably didn't have too high of expectations for a lot of people, but how to deliver for you.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a solid match. It was one of those matches, I think I mentioned it in our prediction video as well, where it felt like a sink or swim moment for Karrion Kross. And to be honest, I don't know which side of that this match falls on. I don't know if it's a sink or a swim, or if it's somewhere in the middle, probably is more so the case. But yeah, it was one of those just weird matches where he didn't do anything bad. There was nothing bad about the match at all, really. There was no bad spots. The match was pretty good. Sami Zayn looked amazing as always. Karrion Kross looked good as well. But just, I guess the ending was kind of the big point to me. It was kind of like, I liked how he was kind of getting in his face and doing all that talking during the match. I did like that because that's kind of how we got the match in the first place, really.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did kind of like that part of it. But it felt like once he actually did start doing that, it felt like the loss was imminent, just because he's doing the corner thing where he's running back and forth into him, and you can almost visualize a haluva kick coming before it even happens. And of course it did happen, and that's how it ends that quick. I wish Karrion Kross might have got the win here. However, obviously Sami winning makes a lot of sense as well.
Yeah, this match, like I said in our predictions video, I didn't know what to expect about this match. I didn't know this would be a Karrion Kross coming out party where he just puts on an absolute classic with Sami Zayn, because they can be have the ability to do that. Or would this just be another night where Sami Zayn and Karrion Kross have a match with one another? And that's kind of what it felt like. I didn't feel, after this match ends, I don't walk away with anything from this. I don't have high expectations that Sami Zayn's gonna get some massive push now. I don't look at Karrion Kross like he's gonna get a massive push, nor is he gonna get, a massive, he's gonna get completely buried now. But yeah, this match, I don't really know how to feel about it. There's a few cool moments, but overall it just felt like really just a TV match at best, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But next up, we had the United States Championship on the line, where Solo Sikoa took on Jacob Fatu, and surprisingly, Solo Sikoa walks out as your new United States Champion, but with the help of some new people.
Yeah, we've seen the debut of Hikuleo, aka Tala Tonga is going to be his new name going forward, so we're adding new Tonga to the group of Tongas. But yeah, I thought this was an interesting match. It was better than I expected it to be. I thought it to be, I basically expected exactly what happened, because I kind of did expect Solo to win, especially leading into it after the SmackDown, because they kind of teased that Hikuleo would come, and they also teased that there would be a lot of help involved in the match, and you could kind of already expect that anyways. But yeah, they did it in a little bit less expecting way, because I didn't think it would be this good of a match leading into that point. I thought it would just kind of be a little boring, and it would get to the bloodline part of the match, and then that'd be the end. But it was a little bit more than that, and I'll just want to give Sil a little bit more credit than saying it was like a bad match or something, because I know a lot of people probably will go that route and say it was bad. I don't think it was bad at all. I thought it was really fun. The distractions at the end and all that was kind of whatever, not huge on Hikuleo or anything, but I did think it was interesting. I like the way they did it, and I'm excited to see Solo going forward.
Yeah, this match, I do agree Solo had a pretty solid performance here tonight, but overall I think this match for me kind of just doesn't really do too much. I'm kind of more annoyed than anything, because now this Bloodline Sterling continues for even longer now. Hikuleo or Tala Tonga, I don't really know how to feel about him. Obviously, I'm not, his biggest fan. I didn't watch too much of his stuff in New Japan, but I also haven't heard anything good about him, nor anything bad about him, so don't know how to feel about him. And yeah, I just don't know what to expect and what is next for Jacob Fatu. Is this going to continue? It's going to lead to a big bloodline match where Roman's going to come back, the Usos go with Jacob. So it will be interesting, I guess, but I kind of wish that we got a break from bloodline shenanigans for a while, and all these men can kind of do their own thing. I know Jacob did defend the belt against your LA Knights and some few other people on SmackDowns, but I just wish we got an actual few months where they were just completely away from each other. No bloodline members were near each other, and they kind of did their own thing, because now it's kind of getting to a point where we need to start branching out, doing newer things, because it's kind of getting repetitive a little bit at this point. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was all fine. I don't really mind it too much because I do think it'll all be broken up relatively soon. I also think Jacob Fatu will win the belt back all relatively soon. I think by SummerSlam, this will kind of be corrected. I could even see a world where the bloodline turns on Solo because he's getting too cocky with the United States belt, because I can only imagine how ignorant his promo is going to be next time we hear from him on SmackDown with his first time holding the United States Championship. But yeah, I kind of agree with what you said, though. I think it's about time to start ending it.
Yeah, but next up, though, we had the Queen of the Ring tournament finals, where Jade Cargill picked up the win and punches her ticket to SummerSlam as well, defeating Asuka in a pretty solid match. But what'd you think?
Yeah, I thought this was probably Jade Cargill's best singles match. She looked really good here. The match isn't going to be me saying it's her best match, isn't me saying that it's some classic WrestleMania match that we should run back very soon or anything. However, I did think it was Jade Cargill's best match. I feel like it was kind of seamless. Asuka helped everything just look flawless in the ring. There was no big botches. There was no slip-ups. There was no parts of the match where it felt really slow. It was only 8 minutes, and I feel like they filled up that 8 minutes really nicely. Asuka looked amazing with her transitions into her submissions and everything, and Jade Cargill showing off her power. And yeah, I just thought it was a really good match. And yeah, Jade Cargill does get the win. I was hoping Asuka would, and apparently the crowd did too, because it was completely silent when she did get the win. Yeah, it was pretty fun.
Yeah, this match, I do agree, it's probably one of Jade's better matches, but again, this match, didn't care for it too much. I think there was some good moments. At points it did feel a little repetitive. There was like a few points where they're kind of just teasing that Jade can always hit her Jaded at kind of any point, but it always end up with us kind of doing like a barrel roll, or not barrel roll, but just a roll through to kind of transition to something else. But overall, this match wasn't too bad. Jade winning seems like, this is going to be the start to something big for her. She probably will go into SummerSlam and win the belt, but will Naomi cash in beforehand or after? Who knows? Kind of feels like that's going to be the end of this, but should be interesting for what Jade has next.
Yeah, I thought the finish was pretty cool as well, kind of like you mentioned. Asuka goes for her new hip attack finish, and Jade kind of catches her into the Jade and goes for the pin and gets it. But yeah, decent match. Jade's going on to SummerSlam, and yeah, not too exciting, but I think there'll be some storytelling after the match and even before the match that'll all make it very interesting. We'll see a lot of Naomi going forward, I'm sure.
Yeah. And then next up in the main event of the evening, we had the Undisputed WWE Championship on the line, where John Cena defended against CM Punk. And unfortunately, the best in the world is not CM Punk no more. It is John Cena, as he retains his champion, but with the help of some individuals we'll get into later.
Yeah, John Cena is not the best in the world. He sucks. But yeah, CM Punk, he came out in his old gear on the night that he retired of his final match or whatever it was. He comes out wearing that same stuff. Very cool stuff there. He did not come out as Doctor of Punkonomics or anything. But yeah, this was a very good match. I had a whole lot of fun with this one. The crowd was super into it. They were going absolutely crazy. I don't know what it was or what they were saying, but they were doing this thing where they're waving their hands and doing these chants and everything. I'm not sure what they were saying necessarily, but they were going absolutely crazy. This is the most electric match of the night by the fans, I believe. I thought it would be the Randy one because they were loving him, but it ends up being this one. But yeah, this was... ended up at almost 27 minutes long. We've seen them go with a lot of back and forth where they're kind of doing a lot of flashbacks from the past, and they're showing each other off a little bit. They're kind of doing everything that you would expect them to do in a John Cena CM Punk wrestling match. CM Punk's hitting them with all his classic moves. He's going for the big knees. He's going for the neck breakers. CM Punk's doing the 5 moves, or John Cena's doing the 5 moves of doom. And yeah, it just was a very interesting match in this first half.
Yeah, I think before all the interference and stuff like that, I think this was exactly what I wanted from this match. I wanted to see just the simple stuff. I didn't need them to go Will Ospreay type of speed. I wanted them to go to a John Cena, CM Punk in 2025 type of speed, with him slow things down and just, make sure they're hitting the moves, as they do. But yeah, this, I think, until the interferences, this match was one of my favorites of the night. I think still overall, it will end up being my favorite match of the night. But yeah, this is pretty much exactly what I wanted from this match. So yeah. But after we see CM Punk get close to a win, what ends up happening.
Well, before, I think this happens before. You might have to correct me on my sequencing if not. But I believe before all the interactions start happening, there's a point where John Cena goes to get his belt and he's going to go and hit CM Punk while he's kind of on the ground on his knees. But before he goes to do it, he kind of looks at him. They kind of make eye contact. The crowd's telling him, no, don't do it, don't do it. And he actually takes the belt and throws it out of the ring. And it was just very surprising. It was like, oh, what are we doing? It's like, either he's going to fight straight, and then I believe he goes and puts him in an STF after that, or maybe a F5, I forget which one it was. But that was kind of the first big surprising moment of the night right there. And the second one would be after a second GTS from CM Punk. CM Punk, the referee gets a big bump. CM Punk goes to call for the second referee, and as he calls him, instead of the referee coming, burn it down plays. Seth Rollins comes down and he does the classic Travis Scott walk to the ring with all his members of his faction, and yeah, he does a moment where he's kind of holding his hand out. He drops his hand. They all go in to attack. They're beating up John Cena. They're beating up CM Punk. We hear Penta's music come. We hear Sammy's music come. They're all kind of brawling all over the place. There was this weird kind of, almost like a weird, I don't know exactly what they were trying to do exactly, but they were trying to throw CM Punk through the announce table. And it looked like they really struggled to get him up, even though it was Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, two of the biggest men on the roster. And for some reason, it felt like a struggle to get CM Punk up. I don't know if it was mistimed or whatever it was, but it looked really weird. But they did get him up, slam him on the table, whatever. Penta comes out. Braun Breaker takes him out. Then Sammy comes out, takes out Braun Breaker, and they're fighting on the outside. Then Penta dives from the ramp to the outside, takes all of them out, and then Seth Rollins hits him with the briefcase. Just a whole lot of just madness going on at this point. And then at one point, Seth Rollins has everyone down. It looks like he's actually might go in, cash in the briefcase, and get the win. Charles Robinson comes sprinting down, a big callback from his first cash in, of course. And before he even makes it to the ring, John Cena just gives him just a big Marcus pounce and just knocks him into the barricade, just knocks him completely out damn there. Then he stops Seth Rollins from doing the cash in. They kind of get in each other's face. John Cena comes in, attacks him. Bronson Reed gets a F5. Seth Rollins gets a GTS, I believe. Then they shake hands. John Cena does a stare down into the camera, just like he did with Cody Rhodes back in Backlash. And next thing you know, he goes for the Dick Kick City. CM Punk catches it, gives him the GTS, but Seth Rollins hits him with the briefcase, hits him with the stomp. John Cena throws Seth over the top rope, gets the pin on CM Punk, and that's the end of the match. That was a lot of explaining, holy shit, but that was the match. Yeah, it was very exciting. I will say, I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know if Punk was going to win. I didn't know if Cena was going to win. I didn't know if Seth was going to win. I didn't know if somebody else was just going to come out, like Roman or something, and do something. So I was on the edge of my chair definitely for the end of this match. I didn't really like everything that happened necessarily, but I was on the edge of my chair. I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know who was going to win, and that was probably the selling point of the match for me.
Yeah, this, with all the shenanigans at the end, I don't know really how to feel about it, because a part of me does like it because it did make the match interesting. It made you kind of think, okay, what could happen? This opens up a lot of possibilities. Like you mentioned, can Seth Rollins walk out with a champion? Can Cena walk out? Will Punk walk out? Who knows? But at the same time, I kind of do wish we just got a full-on Cena versus CM Punk one-on-one match. I think that would have been pretty fun. I do get that Seth Rollins kind of had to get involved because you do want to kind of show that he is a threat with this Money in the Bank. But I do hate that it felt more of like he was trying to cash in on CM Punk rather than John Cena most of the time. Obviously, they had their little interaction where they were talking their smack to one another. But yeah, I kind of wish the CM Punk and Seth Rollins stuff would kind of settle down a little bit. We got to, obviously, that's one of the biggest feuds we wanted when CM Punk came to WWE was Seth Rollins. But it feels like we got so much of it now where I kind of wish it slowed down throughout this entire year. It's been Punk and Rollins, so I know it's never gonna stop. But I wish we kind of got some moments where it wasn't just them two sometimes. So, but overall, I think the interferences were pretty fun. Like you said, made it very unpredictable, and the finish I think was pretty fun with John Cena, like you said, getting the Dick Kick City to get the big win over Punk. But yeah, it was a pretty solid match. Obviously, just really hectic at the end.
Yeah, I mean, as you could tell by my explanation of it, I was probably very bad. It was just a lot going on, hard to remember everything. But like I said, it kind of kept me on the edge of my chair. I legitimately thought that Seth Rollins could get the win and pick up the title here. I legitimately thought CM Punk could get the win and pick up the title here. And I also thought Roman was going to come out at some point. The only thing I might have would have changed is once Seth came out, I probably would have got to the ending a little bit quicker. It kind of went on for a little bit too long with everyone involved, maybe. But I had a good time with this match. Yeah, I don't really have a whole lot of complaints, honestly.
No. But after all 6 matches are wrapped up now, what was your favorite match of the night?
I think my favorite just actual in-ring match was probably Rhea Ripley and Raquel Rodriguez. I thought they just went kind of all out. They did as much as they could with what they were given. They only had 14 minutes, which is about what you would want for a street fight. But in terms of a women's street fight where they you don't get to see them do as many hardcore things as the men, you would kind of expect that 14 minutes to get shrunk down to like 12 or maybe even 10 usually in a WWE setting. But they went to 14. I feel like they filled up the moments great. And yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, but that would do it for our Night of Champions review and results. Let us know what you guys thought about the show down in the comments below. Make sure to follow us on X or on Twitter. And yeah, if you haven't already, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. But we will catch you guys in the next one.